Is your record shop in Margate?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's just up the road. Um, Pete Doherty comes in quite a bit and buys a few records and
Oh, cool.
creates a bit of a whirlwind and then runs out. The Libertines story actually, like when me and Jamie used to live together in Southampton, we were big into the Libertines on their first album. We went to see them at the Joiners in Southampton, which is like a tiny little 200 capacity venue. And Pete and Carl ended up coming back to my house after the gig. We had a little party, and Pete kind of set fire to my back garden and was stealing all my neighbour's garden furniture and burning it up. And me and Carl and were hiding behind seats because he was chucking fucking like lighter fluid into the fire and it was exploding. And it was a fun night. And it got in the enemy the week later. And then I kind of Jamie's ended up hanging out with them a lot more than I have ever since, and he's been working with them and stuff. But I had my shop in Margate, and they all came in one day when they were first kind of scoping the area out. And Carl came up to the counter, and I served him. I was like, "Remember me? You set fire to my back garden in Southampton." He went, "No, no, no, no. Pete set fire to your back garden." And then obviously I see them quite a bit now all the time, and they're always around town. So it's pretty funny to be living around the corner from them after all that happened back then. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
Serendipitous, like it.
And then obviously I've got to ask you about this story that Ed told us about the Libertines or Pete
Yeah,
Dockett setting a fire in your back garden. What was
right.
your recollection of that?
I have a slightly different recollection. So the Libertines have come back to our flat, and Carl told me, I've been working with Carl a bit. He's a friend of the chaps, and he told me that this story made it into their biography, which I'm like, okay, so I'm not the one telling this story. I'm not throwing anyone under the bus. It's brilliant. But like, yeah, so they played at Southampton Joiners, and we were just massive fans. And I don't know, Ed is like gifted the gab. Ed is like everybody's best mate. And I don't know, it wasn't me that convinced the Libertines to come back to our house, but next minute the Libertines were around our house. And then we were outside, everyone was pretty smashed. And then there was something about going into the neighbour's garden, and there was all this furniture that was taken out of the neighbour's garden. And then a bonfire was started with that neighbour's furniture in our back garden. And my recollection was all of a sudden Pete Doherty had a lawnmower and he was like going at the fire with a lawnmower. And then somebody had like jumped on the front of the lawnmower and said, "No, Pete, not the lawnmower, not the lawnmower." That's what I remember.